Spanish palace in trouble. Leonor's marriage news breaks everything. The royal palace of Spain. A symbol of order. A symbol of tradition. A symbol of everything controlled, polished, predictable. At least, that's what everyone believed. Until today. Because the moment the marriage news escaped the palace walls, the illusion shattered. Everything changed. And nothing could be undone now. They tried to keep it quiet. They tried to contain the whispers. But the truth refused to hide. Leonor de Bourbon, future Queen of Spain, had made a decision that split the palace in two. A decision that ignited shockwaves through the monarchy, the government, and every corner of Spain. A decision that pushed her family into crisis and turned the nation's most guarded institution into a battlefield of emotion, fear, love, and fury. This is the story of the moment everything broke. The moment the crown princess's heart collided with royal duty. The moment Spain realized that its future queen was no longer just a symbol. She was human, determined, and in love, and the palace was not ready. The news didn't slip out gently. It burst. It thundered. It exploded into the media with a force no one saw coming. At first, it began as a rumor, that Leonor had secretly formalized her intention to marry the man she chose, not the man the palace expected. Within hours, the rumor became a headline. Within minutes, it became a national drama. Spain woke up to shock. Europe stared in disbelief. Inside the palace, chaos boiled. Queen Letizia reacted first, calm on the outside, shattering on the inside. A mother torn between pride for her daughter and terror for the consequences. She understood the heartbreak behind the decision and the backlash that would follow. She understood that love could lift a queen, or destroy one. But King Felipe, his reaction was different. Not angry, not furious, something deeper, something heavier. A father pushed into a corner, watching the monarchy he spent his life repairing suddenly threatened again. And this time, not by scandals, politics, or history, but by his own daughter's heart. And Leonor, she stood firm, graceful, strong, emotional, the very picture of a queen in the making. But still a young woman choosing love over strategy, heart over protocol, truth over fear. She knew what she was doing. She knew what it meant. And she knew the palace would not approve. This is how it truly unfolded. It began weeks earlier, long before the public ever caught a whisper. Leonor had been growing distant. Not rebellious, not reckless, just thoughtful, more silent than usual, spending long hours in the gardens, writing, pacing, holding onto her phone as if her entire life rested inside it. Letizia noticed first. Mothers always do. One evening, after an official event, Letizia found Leonor on the balcony overlooking Madrid. She stood there quietly, her hair swept by the wind, her eyes distant. That night, Leonor confessed. She was in love, deeply, passionately, seriously, and the relationship was no longer something she could hide. The man she loved was ready to commit. And she was too. Letizia didn't panic. She listened. She breathed. She held her daughter's hands and asked the one question every mother asks in moments like these, "Are you sure?" Leonor didn't hesitate, not even for a heartbeat. But Letizia also knew the real storm wasn't hers to calm. It was Felipe's. The king had always been protective of Leonor. Not strict, not intimidating, but devoted. He raised her with the weight of the crown balanced carefully over her childhood. He wanted her to be more than a queen. He wanted her to be strong, happy, free. But freedom is complicated when a nation rests on your shoulders. So when Leonor finally told him the truth, his heart split in two. He looked at his daughter, no longer a little girl running through palace halls, but a woman with a future she wanted to shape herself. A woman who had inherited his sense of duty but Letizia's fire. A woman who loved deeply, even when the world demanded distance. His first instinct was to protect her. His second instinct was to stop her. His third was to accept that he couldn't control this moment. So he listened. And the words shook him. She wanted to marry him. And she wanted to make it official. Felipe didn't shout. He didn't lecture. Instead, he gave her the silence of a father who understands what love can do. The silence of a king who knows the cost of choosing with your heart. But silence is dangerous. And someone in the palace noticed it. Within days, advisors sensed tension. Meetings felt heavier. The royal schedule changed. And the corridors filled with whispers. Something was wrong. Something big. something the king wasn't ready to share. And then the leak happened. The marriage news escaped the palace before Felipe could control the narrative. Before they could announce it properly. Before the family could even agree. The media went wild. The palace went into emergency mode. Government officials demanded explanations. Royal watchers across Europe speculated endlessly. And inside Zarzwela Palace, the tension reached a boiling point. Felipe immediately called an emergency meeting. Senior advisors sat around the long wooden table, their faces tense, their voices low. They insisted the marriage posed risks. They questioned the timing, the optics, the political implications. They warned of consequences. But the king wasn't listening to them. Not fully. His mind was elsewhere, between fear and fatherhood. Letizia sat beside him, offering calm where she could. Every so often, she glanced at him, trying to read his thoughts. She saw the conflict in his eyes, the storm he was trying desperately to hide. And Leonor, she refused to hide at all. She walked into the meeting uninvited, standing tall, her voice steady, her eyes unwavering. This was her life, her future, her crown, and she would not watch others decide it for her. The room fell silent the moment she stepped in. She told them she was ready to face whatever came. She reminded them that queens in history married for alliances, politics, and power. But she believed a new monarchy required something different, a human heart. A real partnership. A life built on truth, not strategy. Some advisors supported her, others resisted. The division was immediate and intense. As the debate intensified, Felipe watched his daughter with quiet awe. She was strong, honest, braver than he had been at her age. But bravery didn't erase risk. That night, the argument between father and daughter became inevitable. She wanted love. He wanted stability. She wanted choice. He wanted safety. She wanted to move forward. He wanted time. Voices rose. Emotions cracked. Father and daughter stood face to face, both fighting for the future, but from different worlds. And then Leonor said something that broke him completely. She told him she wasn't choosing love over the crown. She was choosing love to be worthy of the crown. The words cut through him. Sharp, honest, devastating. Because he realized something painful. His daughter wasn't the rebellion. She was the evolution. But the pressure outside the palace was growing fast. Reporters circled. Commentators speculated. Politicians demanded clarity. And Spain held its breath, waiting to see how the royal family would respond. Letizia became Leonor's anchor. She reminded her that the world would judge. The world would question. The world would criticize. But love, when true, could withstand all of it. Felipe, meanwhile, withdrew into long private hours in his office. Not because he wanted to stop the marriage, but because he feared the consequences for his daughter. He feared the backlash, the headlines, the endless scrutiny, the weight she would carry for the rest of her life. And for the first time since Leonor was born, he felt powerless. The palace staff sensed the tension. The mood changed. The usual royal calm transformed into a constant hum of urgency. Security was tightened. Press gates overflowed. The entire monarchy felt as if it was holding onto a thread. Then came the turning point. Late one evening, Felipe walked into Leonor's room. She was sitting at her desk, surrounded by papers, letters, commitments, responsibilities, dreams. He looked at her, really looked at her, and saw a future queen who wasn't running from duty. She was redefining it. And for the first time in weeks, he sat beside her without a crown on his shoulders. Just a father. Just a man who wanted his daughter to be happy. He apologized. And she cried. And he cried. And in that moment, everything softened. He asked her one question. The same question Letizia had asked before. Is this truly the man you want at your side? Not just in love, but in life, in responsibility, in sacrifice, in everything the crown demands. And Leonor nodded. Not timidly, not uncertainly, but with the strength of someone who knew exactly what she was stepping into. From that moment, Felipe shifted. He didn't oppose the marriage anymore. He prepared for it. He protected it. He defended it. He stood with his daughter. But the crisis wasn't over. Not yet. News outlets around the world published conflicting stories. Some celebrated the romance. Some attacked it. Some called the monarchy modern and brave. Others called it reckless. Even neighboring royal families commented behind closed doors. Some quietly supported Leonor. Others whispered doubts. The Spanish public became divided too. Many adored Leonor's courage. Many saw her as a breath of fresh air, a queen who would lead from the heart. But others believed tradition was being threatened. They feared instability. They feared change. And so the pressure mounted again. Stronger, louder, harsher. Through it all, Leonor kept her dignity. She continued her duties. She honored protocol. She showed Spain that she could be both a woman in love and a future queen in control. And slowly, the narrative shifted. People began seeing her choice not as a crisis but as history unfolding. A new chapter. A new kind of monarchy. A leader who would rule not from cold tradition but from emotional truth. But the palace wasn't fully healed yet. Felipe had to address the nation. And the speech he delivered became one of the most defining moments of his reign. He didn't speak as a king protecting an institution. He spoke as a father protecting his daughter. As a man who believed in her. As a leader who trusted the next generation. He told Spain that queens are not made by blood alone. They are made by character. By conviction. By courage. And that Leonor had all three. The nation listened. The tension eased. The storm began to settle. The palace reunited. The family healed. And the marriage became not just a personal choice but a symbol of transformation. The monarchy survived. But more importantly, it evolved. In the end, Leonor didn't break the palace. She rebuilt it. She didn't divide Spain. She reconnected it. She didn't threaten the crown. She strengthened it. Her marriage news didn't destroy everything. It revealed everything. The fear, the love, the humanity, the truth. And it reminded the world that behind every crown lies a beating heart. And behind every future queen, lies a woman brave enough to choose her own destiny. Spain watched it all unfold, breathless. The palace walked through fire. The monarchy faced its greatest emotional test. But love won. And history will remember this moment not as the crisis that broke everything, but as the turning point that changed everything.